Audience is the second part of the 7-part series that we're talking about here on how to communicate effectively. So this is point number 2, audience. Know your audience. Your messaging, no matter what you are communicating for, what your intention is, to educate, to inform, to express, no matter what medium you're using, the most important aspect of building the right message is knowing your audience. In this, I have crystallized it into 3 points. The demographics of the audience is important because obviously people, let's say, who are 60 will not be aware of a lot of terminology, of a lot of technology, a lot of social, developments, conventions that somebody who is 18 or 20 would. You will not talk to a baby boomer in the same way that you would talk to a millennial or that you would talk to Gen Z. So demographics is important because it also tells you a lot more about that person's priorities. Okay. Second thing is the awareness. What is their level of awareness about the topic that you are communicating on? It becomes very important to have some sort of an idea at least about the level of awareness that you are assuming that your audience is going to have as you are building your message that you want to communicate. Okay? Discovery. Now, we live in times of the internet, and so this is very important because it's important to know how these people that I'm communicating with, how are these people discovering my content, my novel, my book, a paper that I may have published, it could be a press release, it could be a video that I've made. How are these people finding me? In this respect, the how and the why are both important. The why is important because the why tells you why these people stumbled upon your content in the first place. What need are you fulfilling in this person's life? What knowledge gap, information gap, or experience gap is your content seeking to bridge? Okay? So in this respect, when we are talking about audience, we're not necessarily limiting ourselves to knowing the audience as people, but we're also trying to understand what is their intention for studying a paper that we've published, or for reading a book that we've published, for watching a video that we've made. What is their intention? It's easy to get yourself completely lost into over analyzing trends, but a simple rule of thumb is, as your audience grows, okay, your intelligence of these metrics is also going to grow. Therefore, the most important thing when you are communicating anything out of any intention is to be able to produce it to a sizable class size. You need to have enough people. You need to have enough data to be able to then build upon that. And the easiest way is what? The easiest way is to create more content. But understand, if you're creating 3 different types of content, well, let's say one is to express, one is to inform, one is to educate, then all these types of content are going to have different kinds of audiences. There will be obviously a unique, intersection somewhere here, like this. Okay? There will be a unique intersection of audience who like your expression, who like the information that you give, and who also like the topics that you're educating them on. And you'll be surprised to know just how big a pool there is of these people. Let me just write it here. Education, information, expression. Your job as a communicator, your job when you're communicating by any sort of presentation that you're making, or any sort of book that you've written, any video, any course, your job is to cater to this intersection here as much as possible, because this intersection is going to give you the most traction, is going to give you the most ROI. Okay, when I'm talking about ROI, I'm talking about a term that we call as brand loyalty. Okay, why is brand loyalty important to you as a communicator? Well, as a communicator, if you are communicating enough, you are a brand. Even in your company, even as an individual, you are a brand. Let's say your name is Rohan Avasthi. Mr. Rohan Avasthi is a brand. If let's say it's Professor Avasthi is a brand. There is a certain level of credibility, right? There is a certain level of influence that also comes with you as a person. And so you can expand more on the side of your expression if that is what you feel drawn towards. You can expand more on the side of providing information if that is what gives you a bigger audience pool. It puts you across more and more people, and obviously with education as well, you can expand. But it's this unique intersection of these three divisions which is going to be the most loyal to you. If you want to monetize the content that you're creating, if you want to come up with new ideas, if you want to scale your communications to a level where there is a lot of sharing that is happening, this is a great intersection to focus on. When we're talking about audience, there is also another important thing that we need to keep in mind, which is the size of audience. The size of audience that you cater to is going to depend on whatever topic you've picked up. For example, when we're talking about information, okay, the size of audience, depending on what kind of information it is that you're sharing, can be limited or can be wide. The news is world information, local information, it's general information that affects everybody. And so there is a huge audience size that caters to it. Okay. But if you were to focus your news in one particular area, which is sports news or weather news, then the size of the audience, it becomes completely different. And also with that, the demographics change. Okay. People who spend all of their day indoors, or let's say people who are programmers, people who are, bloggers even, who are doing product reviews, they are less likely to be concerned about weather reports. But a person who spends more time outside is more likely to be tuned in to the weather report every morning. Okay, so that is something that you need to keep in mind. You see, quite often what happens is that in the process of communication, we get discouraged because what we're talking about and the audience for that particular topic, it's not really that much. And so in the beginning, let's say you write an extremely futuristic novel, okay, about a post-apocalyptic world where humans have begun to exist merely as consciousness that has been systematically uploaded into machines, and there is no need for us to have physical bodies anymore. Let's say something of that sort. And you need to have enough takers for that as well. The takers for that are something that you're not going to realize from the get-go. You're going to have to slowly dip your foot into the pool to scope how many people would actually be interested in something like that? And that is why a lot of great writers, for example, Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy, it started off as a series of short stories that was published in the newspaper, and then it turned into a full-blown novel. In the old days, there were lots of people who used to read the newspaper. These days, not so much. So this is something that you need to keep in mind. The size of the audience is also going to determine the level of research that you're able to put into this material, the level of research that it takes to build a piece of content, the level of editing that it takes, the amount of graphics that are necessary, the amount of post-production that is necessary in terms of editing, in terms of syndication. All of that is going to depend to a huge extent on the size of the audience that you're trying to cater to. So as I said, that intersection is probably, those are your unicorn audience. But for you to be able to scale your communications and consistently reach a bigger and bigger audience wherein what you're communicating is being heard, is being shared, is also something which can effectively be monetized in some way by launching a product, by launching a service, by launching a tutorial, or by monetizing the product itself, in the way that you have novels, in the way that you can, show ads on your videos. What's going to define the level of that, what is going to define how long you can go communicating, is the size of the audience that you're looking to cater to. Okay, now you have to understand, the larger this size of the audience that you have to begin with, your expression is probably going to be inversely proportional to that. You cannot just right away go and express all the ranges of your emotion on live television. It's not possible. Even if you had the opportunity, if you did that, there are all the chances in the world of you being misunderstood, what you're trying to communicate being misconstrued. This is what happens, right? This is what happens to world leaders. This is what happens to a lot of politicians, a lot of actors. They express themselves in a way that is more authentic to who they are compared to the expression of the character on screen. Okay? And in that process, they antagonize a lot of people. So therefore, you have to understand, while entertainment is also a part of your expression as an intention, the larger the audience that listens to you, follows you, the larger the audience that you cater to, the more there are chances of your authentic expression being misconstrued. So when you are focusing on creating the right messages, keep focusing on that intersection of people. People who are on board with your expression, on board with the information, on board also with the education. People are on board with all of those things. That is probably the audience that, although will grow slowly, but will give you a lot more traction in terms of you being a successful communicator, you having the necessary traction in the market, in a larger share of voice. Okay? So I hope this was helpful. If it was, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel so that you can stay abreast of all the wonderful content that I post here. I post a lot of different kinds of content, and you are encouraged to check it all out. Check out the playlists that are here on this channel. If you want a personal session with me, you can get one by checking the link in the description box. It's going to take you to my website, and then you have to fill up a form. I'll take it forward from there. I'm going to see you in the next episode of this series. Thank you so much.